Hey, it's Ben here from the Strength Factory, and today I'm going to talk to you about endurance and how you can improve yours so you can ride all day. So whether you're into getting to the top of your local mountain, hill, big backcountry adventures, or whether you just want to do more laps of your downhill trails, stay tuned for 6 top tips. Improved endurance opens up loads of possibilities for you. It's going to help you to obviously ride further. So if you want to go and do like a bigger loop out in the hills or the mountains or whatever, then that's cool. Also though, for you guys who are maybe a bit more enduro or gravity oriented, it just lets you do more laps, you know. More laps is more fun. And for me, certainly, when I think about endurance, it just lets me go out and do 40k in South Wales with the boys, racking up loads of vertical, and it means that I can function and I can ride well on the first descent all the way through to the last. Now, the tips I've got for you today are split into 2 halves. First of all, we've got 3 tips for how to prepare beforehand, so training to help you be better on the day. The second tips then are all about on the day and how to get the most out of yourself on the day to make sure you're not flagging at the end and getting dropped on the last couple of climbs by your mates. Before we get into tips, I just want to tell you really quickly about how the Complete MTB Programme is now app-based. Now, with gyms reopening and things sort of getting back to normal, I'm getting loads of you asking about training, and that is where the Complete MTB Programme comes in. As the name suggests, it gives you everything you need for mountain bike training. So strength sessions in the gym, on the bike sessions, we've got mobility, we've even got yoga in there, and loads of extra training content to make you a really well-rounded, robust, fit and strong rider. It's all on this amazing app called Train Heroic, which is an American app with a rubbish name, but it's really, really good. So you get all the workouts on your phone, and then you literally just get in there, and so wherever you are in the gym, you just get the session up on the phone, get the video tutorial going, sets, reps, training diary, it's all on board, and it's just going to make your training really straightforward. So all you have to think about is working hard and training as smart as possible. So if you want to get on the Complete MTB Programme, now it's on the app, check out the link at the top of the notes in the description below. Top tip number 1 for improved endurance and riding all day is to try and get a bit more training volume into your week. And what that means is trying to sneak in an extra ride or extending one of the ones that you already do. When we're trying to get better at hitting 40, 50k rides, you know, really pushing that endurance on the mountain bike, getting a little extra volume of training is really beneficial. We're getting more time in the saddle, more time on the legs, and more time working the cardiovascular system. Now, it doesn't have to be a really long ride in the week. It could be an extra 45 minutes to an hour once a week. You could try extending your cycle commute and add an extra 5 or 10k or an extra 30 to 40 minutes on that commute to get that extra time in the saddle, that extra time in the legs. When you build up that additional time, it really adds up over the weeks to improve your endurance and your ability to ride all day. Now, you can do these extra rides at a variety of different intensities, but on the whole, if we want to boost that all day endurance, let's focus on doing some nice zone 2 aerobic training. Top tip number 2 for improving your all day riding is to improve your lactate threshold. Now, your lactate threshold sounds a bit jargony, but put simply, it's how hard you can go on an all out max effort time trial for about 45 minutes to an hour. Now, what this means on the trail is it basically determines how fast you can do prolonged climbs and how hard you can go for prolonged efforts. Now, whilst an all-day ride isn't all about short efforts of 10-15 minutes, your ability to do those hard then makes your all-day ride feel easier. So if you're able to do a certain climb at in 15 minutes, okay, when you're really pushing hard because your lactate threshold is good, then if you do that same climb as part of an all-day ride and you do it slower in like 18 or 20 minutes or something like that, then you're pedaling at a lower percentage of your lactate threshold and you're not taking as much gas out of the tank, if you like. So when that threshold is high, it makes the long endurance rides, and especially the climbs, feel easier. So how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to do some interval training to push up that lactate threshold. Now what we're looking to do is intervals in zone 4 on most heart rate based systems, okay? So zone 4 is where your lactate threshold lies, okay? And so that is where we need to train to develop it. There are many different ways of doing this, but a really great way to start is to do 10 minutes at around your threshold in zone 4, a couple of minutes off, and then go again. And over the course of the ride, we're going to accumulate, 20, 30, 40 minutes in total at that lactate threshold. And this will be a really demanding training session that's going to take a lot out of you, and it's going to need good recovery afterwards. If you don't use heart rate, then you can use rate of perceived exertion, RPE, to guide how hard it is. Now, zone 4, the top of zone 4 is about an RPE of 8 out of 10. So, you're working hard, you can't talk, you're breathing heavily, and, especially towards the end of the intervals, it's getting really quite intense. Tip number 3 is a bit different and probably not one you're expecting, and that is to learn how to breathe through your nose when you're riding. Now, a lot of people, as soon as they get on the bike, as soon as they start breathing a little harder, they're mouth breathers, okay? If you've seen Stranger Things, then you know what I mean, okay? Don't be a mouth breather. Instead, what we should be trying to do in life in general and on the bike when we're training is to maintain nasal breathing as much as possible. And that literally means mouth glued shut. At first, most of you are going to really suck at nasal breathing. Like, you're going to do a few breaths, or it's going to go slightly uphill, and straight away you're going to be gasping for air. You need to practice it, okay? And in the long run, you will absolutely thank me, okay, if you stick with this and you improve your ability. In the long run, you should be able to go all the way up to lactate threshold on nasal breathing only, okay? Now, the benefits of this are that it's going to really help you to improve that endurance, improve your efficiency, and all whilst keeping you in a nice, relaxed and calm state on the bike, okay? As soon as you're mouth breathing, it puts your body in a stressed out fight or flight kind of mode. And we frankly just don't want to be in that. Nasal breathing offers more efficiency, it keeps you relaxed, it keeps you calm, and once you get better at it, it's really going to help to improve your all-day endurance and actually improve all aspects of your cardiovascular fitness and riding. See, nasal breathing, mouth closed. I'm pedaling up a grassy hill here. Most of you, or most people you're going to see, are going to be doing this. Don't be a mouth breather. Tip number 4 is the first of my on the day tips. So what I'm talking about here is you're actually on the ride. Whether you're on your own or going out riding with a group, you want to do a big long endurance ride today and you want to survive it, okay, and enjoy it. So the first one of these then is tip number 4, and this is don't start too fast, which can be difficult with a group ride in particular. And I would say is if your group always starts a bit too fast and goes a bit too hard on the climbs and you struggle to finish the rides, then in the short term, you might be better off riding with a different group or doing a few rides on your own to boost that fitness and boost your enjoyment. Now, I am not all about you've got to do training instead of having fun with your mates. That's nonsense, obviously. There's no point riding, okay? But what I am about is some short-term sacrifice in return for long-term gains. In the short term, if those rides with your friends they start too fast, then and they absolutely ruin you and you have to miss the end of it, or you get dropped or whatever, then they're not actually that much fun anyway, and you're not going to improve. Instead, you're better off doing some more steadier pace rides on your own or with a steadier group, okay, and that's going to really help you out. A great way to think about this one is that on a given ride, you've got a certain amount of matches you can burn. Each match is like a hard climb or a hard effort. And if you start too fast, then bang, first match done, you know, and the fitter you are, the more matches you've got. If you've got a lot of work to do in your fitness, and you haven't got many matches in the box, and some of them are probably damp. So what you need to do is be sparing with where you use your energy and effort when you go out riding. You need to be savvy, you need to have a plan, and if in doubt, on the day, start slow, go easy, nasal breathing only on the first few climbs, okay? As you get into the ride, do a warm-up, and that way there's juice left, there's matches to burn at the end of the ride. Top tip number 5 on the ride, it's gonna be fuel yourself. A lot of people, they go out riding and they're not really carrying great food. They've not eaten enough probably before the ride, or not the right sort of things, and they're probably not drinking enough water and staying hydrated. If you want to ride all day, and if you want to enjoy the ride and really make the most of the downhills, then staying properly hydrated and fed throughout the day is going to make all the difference. What does that mean? That means getting enough carbohydrate in your body at breakfast before you ride, and then during the ride at regular intervals. It also means getting sufficient water, and I'll make sure I put a video link to my hydration video in the notes in the description. You're going to see a lot of people carrying things like trail mix, okay, out on, funny enough, the trails. And whilst for some people that can work, and for walking, then that's really ideal, with all the fat and it's lightweight and tasty and stuff like that. Actually, for higher intensity activities like mountain biking, something like trail mix probably not ideal. All the nuts are pretty slow to digest, there's loads of fat, and actually you feel a bit full, you feel satisfied, but it's not going to give you that ready carbohydrate energy that you need to ride all day. So keep it carbs, try and keep it real food as much as possible. So make some snacks. If not, then sports nutrition is great, including energy drinks. My final tip for you is to make sure that you are progressively building distance into your rides. So maybe you've got a specific event or a trip planned where it's going to really push your endurance to the limit. And if you don't have a specific one, maybe you're just aiming for the summer where you want to be fitter or something. Now, let's say you've got a target in mind, like 50k off-road, which is a big day out for most people, but currently you only consistently do 25 or 30. Well, what you've got to do is, like any goal, is you need to break it down into manageable chunks. Okay, so let's say in 3 months time you want to be hitting that 50k. Well, let's break that down. We've got 12 weekends between now and then, and so we can just start adding a couple of k each week. Couple of k, and each week's just a little harder than the last. Okay, and then every sort of 4 or 5 weeks maybe you do a shorter one or have a week off or something like that. In the long run, then you're going to chip away and you're going to get close to that training goal. Another thing that you can build into those training rides, and that like incremental approach to building up the distance, is to actually go over the target distance. So let's say in 12 weeks, you want to do your 50k ride. Well, how about on week 10, you do a 55k ride? Now, it might be hard, it might suck, and it might really push you to your limits. But that if you do that 2 weeks later, when you come to do the 50k ride, you got it in the bag. You can do that distance, and it's going to fill you with confidence so you can really go out and enjoy your ride on that day. I tried to keep these tips real nice and simple for you so that you can just go out and kind of just enjoy your riding and not, have to change things too much in the name of training and structure and regime, okay? We're all about having fun on bikes and just getting outside and enjoying the woods and enjoying nature and things like that. But if you've got any questions on these, then make sure you drop them in the comments and I'll be sure to get back to you. Whilst you're there, make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and then I'll keep on making badass training videos just for you. And while you're down there, why don't you click that link and check out the Complete MTB Programme, now on the Train Heroic app. It's better than ever, getting loads of good feedback. I've got people all over the world using it, and it will make you a better rider. Simple as that. See you later.